Right, welcome back guys to another video, and what I've got for you today is something that I've been actually after for a long time, and I have actually sold my FK2, but we'll get onto that in a bit. And it is the replacement. I've managed to find a 2015 BMW M4 convertible. It's probably not the best time for a cab, but seeing as the prices come down a little bit at this time of the year, why not? But yeah, it's a M4 convertible. It's got a few decent options on it, which I'll go through on the walk around and on the drive. So yeah, we've got this car for today, so I hope you enjoy the content, guys. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Performance Lifestyles. Check us out on Instagram, Performance_Lifestyles, and we're on Facebook as well, Performance Lifestyles. And we've got plenty of videos uploaded, so please do feel free to check them out. And if you'd like your car featured on the channel, drop us an email at pflifestyle@hotmail.com and we'll be more than happy to accommodate. But for today, we've got this awesome M4 cab. So what we'll do is go for a little walk around, then a drive at the usual seats and setting. And yeah, hope you enjoy the content, guys. Catch you outside the car. So this is it then, F83 BMW M4 convertible. It's finished off in like a grey colour. I'm not too sure the exact name for it or the code or anything of the sort. I've been after one of these for a little while, but I couldn't really justify the increase in prices at the time, but found this one for a reasonable price, should I say. Still more than what I wanted to pay, but it's here. And I mean, take a look at that. It's such an awesome car. It's a mega car. It's not quite as focused as the FK2 Civic Type R, but it's not made for the same thing. This is a bit more of a cruiser, whereas that was a bit more of a focused, track-orientated car. But the options on this car, then, the biggest option this thing has got is not the leaf sticking out of the tyre, but the carbon ceramic brakes. Now, these brakes are absolutely, look at the reflection on them. They are mega. They are such an awesome setup. And I believe they were like a £7,000 optional extra from new. So as you can imagine, they're quite a sought after and a rare thing. This car's completely standard. M4, kidney grille thing. It's completely standard at the minute. No splitters, no diffusers. It's got LED headlights, or bi-xenon headlights, should I say. It's not been lowered, not had anything done. The wheels have been diamond cut with the black finish on the inside, which I think looks quite well. Get rid of that. And it's just the whole presence these cars have on the road, honestly. When you see one coming towards you, you know it's an M4. That bumper on the front is quite aggressive. You got all these little slats here, which you don't quite get with the M Sports and stuff that you get. And it's just an overall a lot more aggressive bumper, and it needs to be. It is the daddy of the 4 Series, so to say, apart from the GTSs and stuff. And on the inside, Saké orange, even though it looks a bit red. Interior, which I'll get to in a second. But it's got the usual M4 features, quad exhaust pipe, which sounds quite decent. M4 badge on the back, stroby sort of lights. So onto the inside then. The first thing you probably notice is, if you're into your M power cars, is the extended leather this car's got. It's got the Saké orange interior, the seats, obviously rear seats, and then the extended leather on the dash. So you've got half the dash is still red as well, and then the top half is black leather with red stitching. So it's an optional extra. It's got the heads-up display, which you could probably see around there somewhere. It's got air scarf. Now these things blow out warm air onto the back of your neck when you're driving it along. It's got a heated steering wheel as well, which is quite decent. Decent extra. Keyless start, even though you need the key to unlock it. Carbon fibre dash inserts. They look quite slick, to be fair. Carbon fibre on the centre console. The usual widescreen professional nav. and the heated seats. It's got all these buttons here as well, traction. I think that's something to do with what mode you're in. We're in Sport Plus at the minute. Suspension, so you can firm up and soften up, and then it's also got the steering, so you can put it into like a comfort steering or a sport steering. That's the button for the air scarves, which it's a wicked feature. Honestly, it's a wicked feature, and that's for your soft top, just to push it up and down, which, as you can see, I've got it open, but this is probably the first time I've actually had it open just for the purpose of this video. I think it is a bit cold for this at this time of the year, but today's not a bad day. It's still double figures temperature, so may as well get it done. So yeah, it's also got leather on the door card as well, so there's black leather there, red, sake orange, sorry, and black again here, and it's all just fully, apart from the bottom part, that's plastic, but the top part is all leather. So I mean, these cars, honestly, they're such a mega car. Like I said, they're not as focused as you'd find in a Honda Civic Type R, which is what this is replaced, so hence why I'm comparing it to that. Now, some of you will probably think why these things are just big heavy barges, and I believe they are. Yes, I agree with you, but the thing is, I've wanted an M4 for a while, and seeing as their prices have just gone ridiculously expensive, and this was probably the ideal time to buy a convertible. If I wanted one, I thought it's got to be a convertible, purely for the sake of the roof off, and when it's on there, it's a metal folding roof, so you got best of both worlds. They are a little bit heavier than a coupe, so you're talking about 60 odd kilos, which in the grand scheme of things isn't really that much of a difference. It's 60 kilos, I suppose, just like having a anorexic passenger. So the inside, it's got like, this is all like a bit of a digital display here. You've got the M thing there, the M logo, sorry, not the M thing. 200 miles an hour on the clock, so I'm not sure what they'll do. And these lights here, they're sort of like the amber and the red lights, which you'd normally get printed on the actual rev counter, but these are on there. It's got stop start, which I usually just turn off because I don't see the point of it. Not on one of these cars anyway. And with it being a DCT, flappy paddle gearbox, and they're quite sharp. This thing controls the gear change, the speed, so you can have them put it on 1 and it's like really slow, put it on 3 and it's mega quick. And then you've also got an M1 mode here and an M2 mode, which you can adjust through the actual settings here on the screen. So now you've got suspension in Sport Plus, the drives, it's in Sports Plus mode, and then you've got the steering in Comfort, which is the setting I've just left it on. It was already like that from the previous owner. Like I said, I've not really had a proper chance to play about with this thing yet, but I will do as I drive it every day, I suppose. I have got a couple of little plans for this car, and what I also do have is the FK2. There was another modification carried out onto that, because there is a video of the FK2 on there with the Venturi intake, but there is also another modification I did to that, which I have videoed, and I will get that uploaded onto the channel at some point over the coming week. So watch out for that if you're an FK2 Civic fan, because them cars are absolutely awesome. So the heads-up display, you could probably see it there. Oh, it's telling me my bonnet's open, so I'll have a look at that in a second. But you can see, like, just there, just below my finger there, is where you'd normally get your, that's your heads-up display. It tells you what speed limit is on this street, and it also tells you your speed. But then the moment you put it into like M2 mode, not MDM, M2 mode, I'll press it now, and you can see it there. It automatically changes to a bit more of a funkier sort of rev counter. Now under the bonnet, this is the heart of the M4. It's a 3 litre, I think it's an inline 6-cylinder twin turbocharged engine. Produces 425 brake horsepower and about 400 pounds-feet of torque. So they're no slouch, to say the least. They're a very quick car in standard form, but with it being a rear-wheel drive car, they're very twitchy. So you just got to watch the back end, especially at this time of the year when it's a bit colder, the roads are a bit wet. Just watch that arse end on these M-Power cars. They can be a bit leery. So this is a standard sort of strut brace that they have. It's carbon fibre, and it runs all the way from there to here, all the way up there. Looks quite snazzy under the bonnet. I must admit, it's a fancy looking car. That's probably a good term for it. It's a fancy looking car. But like I mentioned, I've had a few of the M-Power cars in the past. I've driven a few of them, but I've always wanted an M4. Nearly bought one a little while ago, didn't end up going for it. It was a stage 2 car. I didn't quite like the noise that it made, so I didn't buy the car. But this thing is completely standard yet. I have got a few little things planned for it, which I will video and put up on the channel soon. I've already bought a few bits and bobs for it, and I'm on the hunt for more bits. So as soon as everything's bought, I will get everything fitted, and I will video it for you guys to see. Now, there's a couple of things that I don't really fancy about these cars, don't really like about these cars, is the chrome grille. Now, I mean, for this status of car, I think it needs to have something a bit like the competitions. That should have been standard, I think, on all M4s. But these chrome things, yeah. I know a lot of people change them for the M4 competition style ones, which is probably something that I probably will do as well, given that it needs doing, I'd say. And then also these vent grills, they're standard on the M4s. Again, M4, and you can buy these in black and with a bit of carbon on them, which is probably what I will be doing. And the ride height, I mean, you could get like your fist size stuff in there, and it's just, I think they sit a bit high. Once they're a bit lowered with a set of spacers on them, I think it emphasizes, literally, honestly, that bulging of that arch sticks out quite a lot more, and I think it looks way better when they're sitting a bit lower with wheel spacers. And now these are common modifications that people do, probably something I probably will end up doing, just to make it look like I'd want it. I want to put my own personal touches on it, which is something that I reckon I will be doing at some point. So, and there's a couple of other things as well. Oh yeah, and these, before I forget to mention, the mirrors, they're quite snazzy. Folding mirrors again, they're just joined at the bottom, just like a thing. I'm guessing it's for aerodynamics, but yeah, it's there, and it's part and parcel, part of the pack. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Performance Lifestyles. Check us out Instagram and Facebook as well, Performance_Lifestyles and Performance Lifestyles on Facebook. So, and for today, we've got this sick ass M4. I nearly called it M3, M4. So I hope you enjoy the video, guys. We'll catch you on the drive. So then, on to the actual drive of F83 M4 convertible. Almost instantly you can notice the size of this car. It's a very, very big car. Honestly, it's quite wide, and if you're driving it like I'm driving it, trying my best not to curb the wheels because they've only recently been done. Yeah, it's a bit of a challenge in these tighter gaps, but again, yeah, it's a big car. It's a big car. But the drive on it, honestly, it drives like a BMW should. The BMWs have this drive, they've got this thing about them, and this thing is no different. It's got that feel of a BMW. You could tell the car's being pushed as opposed to being pulled, with it being a rear-wheel drive car. And honestly, the BMWs in general, I think, drive absolutely great. I'm not a big fan of the manual BMW cars. I just don't, especially the performance ones, the diesels and stuff, yeah, they're fine. But when you drive a performance M-powered BMW car, or BMW in general, they need to have a little bit more of a engaging gear change, and I don't believe they do. They're just very, like you just, yeah, I don't even know how to explain it. They're just not very good, I think. I know some people think they're a better driver's car and all the rest of it, but for me, the DCT gets a thumbs up. Onto the inside, it's got everything you could possibly want. And I mean, like I said, with this car, with it being the cab, it's got the heated air scarf, which I've actually got switched on now, and it's serving its purpose just right. Windows up, air scarf on. The only thing that's really getting a bit chilly is my bowl dead, but I will be putting the roof back up in a short while. So they're just great. It's in normal mode at the moment, no sports mode. It's in, is it comfort with everything. The gear change is very slow, but it's supposed to be slow when you're in this mode. And the moment you open it up a little bit, put it into your own personalized M2 or M1 settings, and this thing is an animal. Seriously, this thing is an absolute animal. The way it just picks up speed and just goes, it's fast. It's 0 to 60 times, I believe, are around 4 seconds, and top speed, I'm assuming they are electronically limited to 155 miles per hour. But again, that is just an assumption, not that I've tried it. I really want to get a draggy run done on this car just to see what sort of 0 to 60 times they push out. But it probably won't happen today, but I will try and get that done. And I'll upload it on a different video, separate video if needs be, just to, and I'm sure they're around the 4 second 0 to 60. Like I mentioned, 425 brake horsepower, 400 pounds-feet of torque or thereabout. What's not to like about them? They are more of a posing car, more of a cruising car. But I suppose there's nothing wrong with one of them for as a daily or as a weekend car. They're great. Honestly, these M4s are great. An M3 is literally, if you, these cars, the F83 M3, a lot of people I know on the forum stuff class them as hairdresser cars with the roof off, but I think this is just a stereotypical opinion on these cars, and I'm sure most people are just being a bit joking, but it's a bit of banter. But yeah, for me it was, I wanted a cab. I'm not planning on tracking. Track days, yes, the coupe will be better. It's the chassis is a lot stiffer, but for just as a potter about, just as a cruise around, use it as a daily car, put the kids' seats in there with, cover the seats first obviously, and it's a perfect car. Honestly, it's a perfect car. You literally get best of both worlds out of one of these M4 cabs. If you want 4 doors, then you have to opt for the BMW M3, the F80 M3. Everything on that is exactly the same as this. The engine, the power, the drivetrain, everything is exactly the same. But you just get the 4 doors and the permanently fixed roof. So then, put it into manual mode. It's got a valved exhaust, so you heard it bark there. So we're on standstill. Oh, traction's going mad. Yo, this thing is epic. Absolutely epic. People are probably looking at me thinking, what is this guy doing with the roof off? But the moment you let off the throttle, you hear the exhaust kind of like let off a little fart, and it sounds great. It's not crackling and popping and banging and nothing like that. Nothing Asbo. It's just a little. What a car. What a car. First time I'm driving it with the roof off, and when you open it up a bit, it's, yeah man, this is awesome. So we'll put the roof up now. I think it's about time. That's it. Switch off this air scarf because it gets a bit too much, and good to go. So like I said, when you drive them around normal, they drive absolutely beautiful, beautiful. But the moment you want to have a little bit of fun, the gear change is snappy, the gear change is sharp. You're not really going to find many cars that realistically are as nice to drive and as good to drive as these. These always keep you on your toes. With them being a rear wheel drive car with quite a bit of power, it will always naturally keep you on your toes. So as mentioned before, just be very careful if you're driving. If you've got yourself, you know, an M-Power car, first rear wheel drive car, just be very careful, because they can just snap and bite you on the ass when you're least expecting it, and that's quite literally the last thing you want. A friend of mine used to have an M3 many years ago, F80, and it did end up in a ditch wrapped around a couple of trees, and which is not something that you want. And that wasn't even being booted, it just lost it on an icy day, so I was told. Now this is also like the first turbocharged M-Power, M3 or M4, people call it an M3 for some reason, but yeah, even the M3 is still the first turbocharged M-Power car at the 3s and 4s, and you can hear the turbo. I wasn't really expecting to be able to hear the turbocharger whistling in the background, but you can hear it, and it does add to the whole driving experience. I think it's and even there, booted it a bit, third to fourth gear change, and the traction light, I felt the back end twitch a little bit and the traction light started going off. Hence why I said you have to be very careful. As soon as you play about with one of these things, especially stage 1, stage 2, stage 1 power, they're producing, you know, mid 500 horsepower. And then they turn into an absolute beast of a car. They're not the fastest cars, I admit, but they've got more than enough power to get you out of sticky situations. And let's be honest, there's not many cars out there on the road that look as good as these, that drive as well as an M4, and most certainly with that sort of power. Ample amounts of power for what you need for road use. But if you're thinking, you know, track days and maybe even more of a, if you get bored of the power, then there's the potential to go a little bit further, but for not a big cost. There's plenty of tuners out there that play about with these cars, and you could go over 600 horsepower. The engines are strong enough to take the power. Hybrid turbo upgrades, you know, there's plenty of tuning potential. It's the first time I've actually driven a car with a heated steering wheel as well, and it's an option that I've never really thought about, but now that it's there, you're almost wondering what it'll be like without having one. The back end kind of like just twitched. These things are epic, very, very epic. Even though that don't make sense, but yeah, they are amazing. Just be very careful with them though. Just be very careful. The gear change, honestly, when you're in the higher sports mode, is snappy, is sharp, it's instant. And again, like I mentioned, this is what you want. This is exactly what you want when you're spiritedly driving them about and just having a bit of fun in them. And that spool up of the turbos, you can hear it and it sounds awesome. It sounds absolutely awesome. I'm going to conclude the video for today. I hope you've enjoyed the video, guys. I was running a bit late today, so my intention was to get it done a bit earlier in daytime, but we'll see how it goes. And this is it. And so yeah, I hope you've enjoyed the video. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Performance Lifestyles. Check us out on Instagram, Performance_Lifestyles, and we're on Facebook as well, Performance Lifestyles. If you're an M-Power fan, then we've got a few M-Power videos, BMW M-Power cars with an F10 M5, E92 M3, E46 M3, and a 435D. Actually, I nearly forgot about that car. That's a mega car. That was such a good car. And believe it or not, I played about what is quicker than one of these in these conditions. So, but yeah, hope you've enjoyed the video, guys. subscribe to our YouTube channel, and like I said, if you'd like your car featured on our channel, drop us an email at pflifestyle@hotmail.com and we will be more than happy to accommodate. But in the meantime, stay safe and hopefully we will catch you on the next video.